am James Triplett, and if you remember last year, we talked about the 4 F's. We talked about faith, family, finances, and the future. Well, we got a little bit of different twist this year. We're going to be talking about the essentials that makes up for a healthy relationship. And I am so glad to have an awesome couple here today. They do a great job in their community. They do a great job at their church. And they are the perfect couple on this Valentine's Day to talk about the essentials that make up for a healthy relationship. So I want you to welcome to the set Relationship Conversation, Moses and Candyce Chattman. So Moses and Candyce, thank you guys for being on the set of Relationship Conversations.
Glad to be here.
Appreciate you guys being here. Before we get into the essentials that makes up for a healthy relationship, I always like to ask couples a couple of questions. Number one, and whoever wants to give this information can give it. How did you guys meet, and how long have you been married?
You gonna take it over? All right, you go ahead.
Okay, we met at church.
Oh, okay.
Honestly, he likes to tell people we met at the club.
Yeah.
And we did not meet in no clubs. When people ask the question, he's like, we met at the club.
Holy club.
Bro, no, we did not. We met at church. We did. He actually had duty, and he was sleepy, tired, and he came in, and we're going to tell the whole truth. He was actually dating somebody else at the time. And he came in, and I seen him, and he seen me. We didn't really like talk at first, but what drew me to him was he's a lover of music. And when I learned that he could play, when I saw him play the keys, that's really what drew me to him. But the first time we really talked was my sis Kim. She was the one, and she's actually, her and her husband are still a part of our lives to this day. They've actually been married 23 years.
Oh, wow.
So she was the one that actually, because he was too shy, so he wasn't really gonna say too much. But it was honestly because of her that we really like connected and really started talking. And it just, and honestly just grew from there. We just became the best of friends. Talking about, and honestly that was really, I have to give him credit for that, because I was never really a communicator. That was never really my thing. In my house, we didn't communicate. It was be seen, not heard, do as I say, not as I do, stay in a child's place, you don't really have a voice. So when we first started talking, he was like, you don't want to talk? And I was like, I really don't.
You don't know my background.
Right, like I don't know, communication is not my thing. So he made me stay up. We stayed up all night. The first time we actually really talked. We stayed up literally all night just talking.
Oh my goodness.
Him asking me all kinds of questions, making me communicate, because I had never really done that before. So it was completely out of my element. So I do have to, and even still to this day, that is a big thing for him. Communication is huge. And for me, it's still hard. It is.
It's always a kind of a work in progress.
Yes, it is. So I have to give him that. And actually, come this April the 27th, because his birthday is April 26th.
Oh, okay.
So our anniversary is April 27th.
You can't forget that. You'll be in trouble if you forget that.
So it'll be 16 years this April we've been married, because our son just turned 16, Nate.
Wow.
He just turned 16 last month.
Yes.
So it'll be 16 years. Jeez Louise.
Yeah. Let me ask you, Moses.
Yes, sir.
When did you know, prior to getting into the club, whether you met in the club or church, when did you know that Candyce was the one, and the player days is over for me? Not saying that you was a player anyway, but it's over. When did you know?
Do we want to see the tattoo?
When did you know?
Well, as she said, we met in church. I was dating someone else at the time.
Let's side note. How did you get out of that though?
Military.
No, I'm talking about you were dating somebody. How did you?
Right. So it was a off and on relationship.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha. So 1 minute we wanted to be together, next minute I need space, need time. Classic military Navy relationship.
Gotcha.
And so we had got invited out to church, and I had all night duty, and I was just like, I was exhausted. I'm like, you know what? I'll go. She wanted me to go. And got there, all these instruments sitting there, nobody was there to play, and I was just exhausted. I'm like, I'm about to fall asleep. Got a hold of the usher and said, hey, can I tickle the keys a little bit? You know, asked the pastor, hey, come on. And they say they normally we get out of church about 12:30, 1 o'clock. We get out of church almost 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
In the morning?
No.
And I actually saw her for the first time during offering. She was going around. And
did you forget to get your offering? Because you was distracted.
And you know, I just happened to look up and I saw her, but you know, didn't think nothing of it. You know,
Right.
Hey, okay, you know, all right, potential. But nothing, you know, because like I said, I was with somebody else.
Right.
Just a quick glance, and you know, back to my focus. And other than that, met her at the church, and through another friend of the family, and it grew from there. And so during that time when, you know, the young lady was just not, you know, in sync, met her, and as truth be told, she was in a very bad place. She was kicked out of mother's house.
Sure.
Didn't really have nothing.
Wow.
She was everything that I was not looking for.
Wow.
Younger woman, didn't have a job.
Well, I mean, honestly, because he was 5 years older than me. So at the time, I was 17.
Yeah, oh, gotcha.
So,
You know what I'm saying? So I wasn't even 18 yet.
Right. So I had my player list,
Right.
and everything that I was not looking for, she was it.
Wow.
And what drew me to her, she had these really thick Coke bottle glasses, and I have this thing for glasses. And
Right.
I was just blown away.
Wow.
And when I met her, I just was fixated on the glasses, and then she had this, you know, this glow about her, this personality, and I'm like, wow, kindred spirits. And you know, some of the things that I like, she liked, whatever. And again, you know, hey, well, you know, the church hug and everything, and all right, well, see you later, and you know, so didn't think nothing about it, and get a call, hey, my sister want to talk to you.
Let me ask you real quick, okay? Had you picked up on it prior to his sister calling? You know, after you guys did the church hug, were you picking up on the fact that, man, I think he's into me?
When I seen him playing keys, I heard this voice say, "That's your husband."
Wow.
And I looked. Now, mind you, I wasn't living right at the time, okay? So to hear this voice, audible voice say, this is your husband, it was like, and I look behind, and I'm looking like, is somebody talking? Because now, mind you, the music is going, everything is going, and I'm looking like.
And you're hearing this.
And I'm hearing it.
Going on.
And I'm like, nah, okay, I'm going to let it go. And then he said it again, and he was louder.
Wow.
And I was like.
I didn't get that memo.
I don't know about this one. Because I'm like, I just seen him. I wasn't thinking about marriage. I think I was 17 years old.
Right. Wow.
You know, trying to figure life out. So it was like, okay, God.
So had you finished high school yet, or were you getting ready or graduating?
No, I hadn't finished high school yet.
Wow.
No.
That is awesome. One of the things I know about couples and being married, we've been married 36 years, been together almost 39. Sometimes
Trying to get there.
you like the person, but you don't love them. And sometimes you love them, but you don't like them.
Yes,
Moses,
sir.
do you still like and love Candyce, and why?
I would say this. After about 5 to 7 years, it's a struggle. And I'll just keep it real. You're with that same person every day, every night, you know, and for the longest time I was the breadwinner in the house. So a lot fell on my shoulders.
Right.
And then in the midst of all of that, kids are growing up, something's breaking down, job, ministry. You're pulled in many different directions.
Right.
So you have to put an effort into continuing to love on that person.
Right.
So will I say that we still have a good vibe, good chemistry?
Right.
Yes, 110%. Will I say that we still click? No, you know, hands down,
Right.
110%. Do I love her? Yes. Am I still in love with her? With effort? Yes. Because like I said, you know, she is not the same person that I met all them years ago.
And nor you too.
Nor me.
Yeah.
And going through transition, ups and downs, left and right, you start to view that person differently. You still care about them, and I would encourage any other young couple or any up and coming couple, get to know the person inside and out first.
That's good.
Get to know their background, get to know their likes, their don't like, their triggers, because women can be volts, and you have to have the right combination, the right temperature, the right day to break that combination, because they are full of secrets.
Right.
We're full of secrets, but they, especially if a person has been through something, they have walls upon walls, and you have to break through that, especially if the last guy did them completely wrong. They say you don't, but they make you pay for it. And so with that, it has been a challenge, especially raising a family, being in the military, being away from home, because I have no family out here. She has no family out here. It's just us. So, and extended church family, and that's our support system. You know,
so it sounds like you still like and love. I want to piggyback on you to ask this question. He said that you guys only have just no one here as far as biological family. Does that make the relationship stronger? Because sometimes when you're around familiar, the family, you'll call them, you go over there. In your view, Candice, did that situation make you guys have to deal with your issues and your circumstances?
Yes. Moses is not my first marriage. This is my second marriage. Okay. My first marriage, I made a lot of mistakes, and one of the biggest ones that I will say that I made is I always ran to my mom. We would get into it, and I would just leave for weeks and go stay with my mom. That was something I vowed that I would not do, because at the time it was like, if I ever get married, because I said I would never. But if I ever got married again, I would not make that choice. I wouldn't do that. We would stick it out. I don't care if he's upstairs and I'm downstairs for a few hours. We gonna make it work. I don't care if I go sit in the car and whatever. We gonna make it work. You're not leaving, I'm not leaving. We gonna figure this out. And that's one of the things he likes and doesn't like about me, because I don't like it when we're not speaking. It bothers me. It irks me. You can be mad at me all day, but if you're speaking to me, I'm good. But if you're not speaking to me, that's a problem. That's a problem.
And we as men, we have that issue because we like our silence. We like to get in
and
our
I be
name,
like,
amen.
And just
bruh.
say, hey.
And then he'll be sitting on the couch, and he'll be looking at the TV. I'm like, I know you see me looking at you. You're gonna answer me today. We're gonna talk about this today. Because my thing is, I don't like going to bed angry or mad. I just don't. Even before I found out that was in the Bible, that's just something I just don't like it. I don't like how it feels, because then I wake up more mad than I was. So it's like that's something that I will never ever. I just don't like it, and so that's something from the beginning of our relationship. Even still to this day, I don't.
Awesome. Let me ask you this, Candy. What's the one thing, since you said that you were previously married, that you learned that you knew you couldn't bring into this relationship?
Anger. God is still working on me with that. My attitude.
Preach. Amen.
I can get in a mode to where I really don't care. Like seriously, like I really don't. And even if I do, I won't let you know. You won't know. I promise you, you won't know.
With facade,
I promise you. And then too, it goes back to the way I was raised. Like my mother is from Brooklyn, New York, so she was raised tough. You know, and so my mother raised us tough. It was 3 girls and a boy. So she raised us tough. I didn't grow up with my mother saying I love you. You know, I didn't grow up with my mother hugging me. I had to hug her. I had to tell her that I loved her. And it's still a struggle for her. She's a little better, but like for me, that was something that I vowed for my kids, you know, because I knew one day I was going to have kids, that I would tell them, and I think I might have smothered them a little bit. But because I didn't get it, I, you know, and even with him, he's just like, sometimes he'll be like, Dad, can you get off me? I want to show you, because that's a love language for me. Like, I'm affectionate. I want you to touch me. I want you to kiss on me and caress me and hold me. That's not his thing. He still struggles with me holding his hand in public.
I understand too. I understand that struggle.
He still struggles with that, and I'm just I don't know. It's second nature for me. It's like, and then like if we're sitting in a restaurant and I want to just lay on them or lean on them, they're like, "What you doing? Why you laying on me?" It's like, that's because again, I didn't do that in my first marriage.
Right.
I did it because I had so much from a child on up. I was molested. I was raped. I was sexually assaulted. So it was just so much of that. And even in high school, things like that happened to me, and I had to move around.
Right.
You know, I went to like 4 different schools in high school.
Oh, wow.
So it was like all of those things. So that anger and rage and frustration, all those different things. At the time I was younger, now I'm over 40. So it's like I'm learning how to balance it.
Wow.
But one thing he can say is that I'm quick to say, check this out. I need you to fall back.
Yeah.
Like I just need a moment. Give me. But that for him it's not. When I say that, then he'll say, "What's wrong? Are you okay?" And it's just like, bruh, like, can you just give me like 5 minutes? But again, he didn't grow up like that, so that's hard for him to understand.
Right.
His thing is, and I'm still learning this. He wants to fix it.
Right.
And it's like some things you can't fix.
So true.
And that I know is hard for him because he wants to fix it, but it's like, again, triggers, like things will pop in my head and I'm like, okay, I just need a moment. Like my thing is when I get off work or let's say I went grocery shopping or did something, I'll sit in the car. He can't stand it.
Right.
But that's my time to relax, chill, because I know when I get in this house, I know as soon as I hit the door, mom, Candyce.
Right.
It's just like, oh my God. Yeah. So it's like, I just need to sit in the car. Sometimes I'm in the car for like 3 hours.
Yeah. Wow.
I need that.
That is something. So I heard a little bit about what your love language is, Candyce. It sounds like physical touch and those type of things. Moses, what is your love language, knowing that there's, you know, as Candyce described how she wants to hug on you, and you're not saying you're not yourself, you're not built that way. So what is your love language? What would you describe as your love language?
My love language, I would say, is communication.
Okay.
And doing. Not really, you know, I'm a Navy man, you know,
Right.
you know,
Oh yeah.
and not really big on, not really big on words, not really big on, you know, documentation, but you know, if I love you, then let me show you that I love you.
Okay.
Let me take care of you. Let me, you know, be there for you. Let me communicate with you. And most men, we're simple, we're straightforward to the point, but if you can carry on a good conversation, you got me. You know, and like I said, you know, something arises, problem arises. One thing I cannot stand is, I don't want to talk about it.
Right.
I don't want to deal with it right now. I'm like,
I'm guilty.
Let me fix
guilty.
it. Let's get back on track.
guilty.
Let's stay in alignment. But I can't stay in alignment if I don't know what's going on.
And it's not fair sometimes, right?
Right. And I think it's so totally not fair. But if you do love that person you care about, you'll give them a minute.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I had to learn is to
And still learning.
Don't you like how they finish out?
Yeah, exactly. Right. Putting others before me.
Yeah.
And their opinion and their feelings matter as well.
Yes.
And even though I might have this particular background, this particular education, this amount of experience, I'm not the only one that's been through something. Somebody else does have an opinion. Somebody else does have a story to tell and that experience. So sometimes you need to yield and listen. And that was one thing I definitely needed to learn over the years.
Oh, that's good. Well, this is a good conversation. We even got to the essentials. So we're going to begin to move to the essentials. When you talk about the things that it takes to make for a healthy relationship, sometimes when a relationship is not healthy, there's stress, there's I don't want to talk, there's I don't feel valued in this relationship if it's not healthy. When it's healthy, it's different. You feel like, man, we're the yin and yang of each other. God is a threefold cord. So the first thing, and you guys have already been talking about it, as it relates to what makes a healthy relationship is communication. And you guys described a little bit about it. What was it, in your view, Candyce, that makes the communication how you guys have described it already?
You mean what makes it good?
Yeah, or not so good, because it sounds like, you know, you guys are kind of there's a sweet spot that you guys are trying to get to as it relates to communication. communication.
Yeah, I'm not a communicator.
Okay.
I'm more of a shower. I'm a doer. I love doing things for people. That's my way of communicating.
Okay.
His way of communicating is you ain't got to do nothing, just talk to me.
Right.
So it's like, okay, because I want you to show me.
Right.
I don't want you to talk to me.
Right.
He's like, I don't want to show you. I want to talk to you.
Right.
So we still, because there are times where I'll be like, I just don't want to talk about it right now.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll be like, what we need to do with it head on? Well, right now I'm just not feeling it because sometimes I get really frustrated. I get angry.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, so I can say God is still working on me because I will black out.
Right.
Right? When I was younger, when people would make me angry, I was ready to fight. There were no words. I was just ready to throw down. So, and I'm not talking about I'm talking about throwing chairs, bottles, you name it, I was doing it. So now it's like, I have to reel all that in.
Right.
So when I tell him, I don't want to talk about it right now, it's not necessarily that I don't want to talk about it. I know what I'm feeling on the inside and what's trying
you
to
don't
come
want that
out.
to come out.
Right. So it's best for me to just sit still. And it irks him because he'll be like, you're just so quiet. You're just so calm. There's a reason. There's a reason.
Do you say that, Moses, knowing that she's trying to get herself, work herself through this process, or do you say that as a way of trying to say, come on, baby, let's talk a little bit about it?
Right. And again, that goes back to what I was saying earlier, because we don't have any family here.
Gotcha.
I am the example in my home of love, stability, security, endurance, you name it, accountability. So I have 3 sons watching how I interact with my wife. So if we're just avoiding it because mama wants that minute and I'm just supposed to go in the corner and just sit and wait, they're watching that.
Right.
They're watching
me in the corner waiting on Candyce.
So that's my approach,
Gotcha.
because I'm also that ideal male in the home, to where my future up and coming kings are patterning themselves after.
Exactly.
So they're watching everything that we do and how we interact.
Oh yeah.
How often we're getting mad, how often we're fussing and arguing, how we're loving on each other, how we play, how we deal with problems.
So that's a constant thing that you take roles in your mind.
Right.
I got you.
And because I'm the head of the household, and I'm that example.
Right.
And so
The
that's
protector,
what I was
the
trying to and
the
so
fixer,
that's why-
even though they don't like it.
But or when somebody getting sick, honey, what do we do?
Right.
All right, you know what? Let's put our heads together. Let's go to the cabinet. What we see, if there's something we can fix. If not, we need to go seek somebody with a higher level of more education.
Yeah.
But and that's my approach. It's not about being a chauvinist. It's not about trying to have that takeover spirit.
Right.
I just like to. I like to.
All right, we might have a different opinion here.
I just like to resolve things,
Right.
quickly and at the lowest level possible, so we can move on.
Yeah.
Because
And I like that answer because it sounds like, just like all couples, the communication, it's not a 100-100.
right.
And I don't know if you can ever get there.
That's a myth.
If you get there, boy, I tell you.
Listen, tell me.
Got that.
That's the myth.
It's kind of like those people who say, well, we've been married all these years and we've never had an argument. I'd be like, well, I wonder if you really married.
Listen, gotta run.
If you live with somebody. So, as we move from communication, I want to, another one is trust. Have there ever been a situation where trust in the marriage relationship was kind of questioned by either one of you? Candace, you can start. And how did you guys rebuild it if it was kind of, whatever the situation was that made it? How did you build it back up?
When I moved to Virginia, we were not married, but I was going through a divorce. He was going through a divorce. And I had 2 kids at the time, and I was in Lemoore because I had moved from here because my mom was here. She was going through her stuff, and me and my mom were just not getting along at the time. So I moved with my god brother and my god sister, and stayed there for a little bit. And then I was just like, this is not working. And so we were speaking, but not like that. And then he was like, well, maybe you should just come to Virginia for a little bit. I was like, I'll think about it. And then this thing started to happen between my brother and my sister. I was like, yeah, I need to get him out of here. And so he bought my ticket and my son, and we went to Virginia. He was struggling because I missed one of the flights. Now, trying to travel with 2 small kids was a lot. But in his mind, he was like, she's not coming. And it was like, I'm not saying that I'm not coming. I was struggling with 2 kids. And so when I finally got there, there was a lot of doors that he had opened, still doing his player thing. And so it was like, you wanted me to come out here, but you have some unfinished business. So there was some females that was popping up, acting retarded, acting dumb, even at church. So it was just like, okay.
Did you realize, Moses, that could have been an area where it could have broke down the house of trust, and you would have had a struggle trying to build it back up, as you described the situation?
Well, as always, I see it differently. The plan was, because we were friends, you know, and what really drew me to this young lady is she befriended me. I had a lot of trust issues growing up, single parent household. Gotcha. I was the man of the house, and I really didn't trust too many people. I would let you in, but not
all
too
close.
No, that was a no. That was just a street rule. But she befriended me. I could talk to her, I could confide in her, and she had this thing to where when she talked, she liked to look you dead in your eyes.
Oh God.
And I just
That's a tough one there.
I just can't.
Because I feel like if we're talking, I'm giving you my undivided attention. He still to this day, when we're talking, he can't look me in my eye. He'll kill me with this. And I was looking like, bruh,
I can have a full conversation. As long as I can gaze around and do this, I can talk all day. But if I got to sit there and drop your dead on,
What is that?
But like I said, because of that, we were friends. We had a great foundation as friends. Yeah. So the plan was for her to come and just to get away. I was always out in the field doing something. I had this apartment sitting there. And I was hardly ever home. So you and the kid just come, just get a change of atmosphere, whatever. When you're ready to go back, go. You know, I was being there for a friend, and lo and behold, like the words say, you know, you shouldn't shack up because if it's there, you will partake.
Right.
And so that's basically what happened. You know, friends became lovers, and we've been growing together ever since. So. There was some trust issues at first, but the thing is, from day one, I was up front with her about everything. I told her who I was, what I was about, and I said, hey, this is me, this is who I am. If you agree, we can rock. If there's anything about me that you don't like, that I put out, that speak now.
I sure did.
So you were agreeable, but not 100% agreeable.
Because I didn't know a lot of the stuff that was happening in the background until I got there.
Gotcha.
And what happened was because Moses, his spot at the time was the kicking it spot, because it was just him. So all his little friends was like, yo, who is this chick? And why we can't kick it no more? It's a wrap.
Right.
If you want me here, then that's it.
This is shutdown time.
Yeah. Right. And so they retaliated. They were really upset because they were trying to figure out who is this chick and why all of a sudden now did he just change just like that. They were trying to figure it out. And it wasn't for them to figure it out. Oh my gosh, we went through so much during that period. Because people were trying to, I will say that is one thing about he and I, nobody knows anything, and that irks people, and that's crazy to me. But again, it's, and my aunt, before she passed, she would always tell Moses, because he would be trying to figure me out, and my aunt would say, You never know what Candyce is gonna do. She's gonna do it.
You just gotta come on for the ride, Moses.
She's just gonna do, and that's very true. I've always been like that. I've never, again, the communication was not a big thing in my house. So if I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it. Like, I'll give you an example. The other day, my brother came by, and he wanted to see my new car, and me not even thinking, I'm like, okay, cool. We'll get in the car, drive him around for a little bit. I didn't tell Moses. Okay. So when we driving around having a good time, music blasting, just letting him feel the ride, whatever. So we get back to the house, gone less than 10 minutes. Get back to the house, you know, he gives me a hug. He's leaving to go back because he lives in Federal Way. So I get to the door and he giving me this look, and I'm looking at him like, what's wrong with you? And he just sitting there and he gonna say, you tell me you were leaving? and then I didn't say it out loud, but I didn't think I had to. Like, I knew not to say it out loud.
Right.
I kept to myself. And so,
y'all would have made it here.
I walked in the house and he was like, so that's what we doing? We just leaving, not telling nobody. And I'm thinking to myself, Candyce, how you gonna get out of this? Because it didn't even compute, it didn't even click.
Yeah.
But that was a mistake. And I said to myself, I apologize. And I said, I won't do it again. And I don't care if I'm just going 10 minutes down the road. But then I'm thinking to myself, I'm in my PJs, like I ain't going nowhere. But to him, it was, you left and you didn't say anything.
It's that protector.
Right. Exactly. So I told myself, I don't care if I'm just walking down the street. Moses, I'm going down the street. Just want to let you know. Because when I flipped it, I said, now had it been me and he would have just left, I'd have been like, looking at my phone, ain't get no text, ain't get no phone call. I'd have been calling, where you at? What's going on? Oh, you going for a ride the street? Okay, cool. Next time, let me know. You know what I'm saying? But that's me. Now, Moses, he's not gonna do that. He's gonna wait till you get back and then look at you crazy. You be like, man. Like, I know I done messed up.
just going down.
Right.
So we gonna talk about this.
Exactly. And then he went upstairs. He stayed upstairs for a few hours. I was like, man, I'm in trouble.
I like this conversation because really it's going to lead into one of the other essential parts, and it's called independence. You guys are big time people in the community, heavily involved in your church.
I'll take it. Right.
Candyce, I see you as a very you're a psalmist, you're a minister, you're like a spiritual MacGyver. You know, you God.
I like that.
God does all kind of things with you guys.
Yes, I like that.
Sometimes men can't handle independence when God is using his spouse. And in some circles, people say, you know, you can't handle that person's anointing. Have you ever struggled with the independent side, knowing that you're the man, God, Jesus, God, you, her, but have you ever struggled with that in the essential part when she is independent?
Yes. 110% yes. And I say that because dealing with a person like Sister Candyce.
I like to take the church back. Sister Candyce.
She does wear many hats.
And a lot of people pull.
And a lot of people pull at those heartstrings. I do have her about 5 years. So I've been in the game just 5 minutes a little longer than she has.
Right.
So I've seen what it can do if you allow it. And sometimes, you know, like I say, just being in that protective mode, and because I do love her, I don't want her to wear herself out. And
like that,
I have to holler at her sometimes that, hey, you know, like, take it down a notch. You're doing too much. Because of her heart, she will go, and she wants to please everybody. But wisdom says you can't say yes to everything.
Yes.
Because you're still a wife, you're still yourself, you're still a mother, and sometimes you just need some downtime. Right. And sometimes when you're going, you don't see it. Right. So it does take that extra set of eyes and that extra set of ears, that extra, you know, attention to detail that the person that's in it don't see, to say, hey, all right, you know, let's say no to this one. Yeah. Or you know what, we mean well, but we just have too much on our plate.
And I like what you're saying, because what I hear you saying is that you're not saying no to her independence. You're just saying, hey, we need to balance it out. Right. To make sure that it doesn't get, because at the end of the day, you're coming back home to me and the kids. Right. And who wants to have an argument after you done went out and ministered or did whatever God told you, and you got to come home to the people that you just want to embrace and love you. So I like how you put that. You just said, babe, I know God is using you, and I'm not going to stifle that. I'm not going to get in the way of that anointing. But, let's just balance it out. How do you receive that?
Not well, being totally honest. It is definitely a struggle for me because I'm being pulled in so many directions. And not just ministry, family, community, you name it. Oh my gosh. I didn't realize how much I was being called on until I started working.
Wow.
I started working in December at Bath and Body Works. And I love working. I love my job. It's simplistic. It's one of my favorite stores. But just in the time frame that I've started, I've had so many calls of people asking me to sing here, minister here. Can you do this? Can you put the choir together? I'm like, oh my gosh,
it's a lot.
I would never, till right now, but I would never admit to him you were right. Okay? I wasn't gonna do it. Because I was like, I'm gonna work this out. Okay, we're gonna figure it out. Me and you, right, God? We're gonna work this out. Because growing up, I was never told that it's okay to say no.
Yeah, right.
Especially in church. They ask you to do something, you do it.
Yes.
There is no no. There's always yes.
Right.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. There's never a no.
Right.
And honestly, it wasn't until my auntie Vicky Collins, she said, Candyce, no is a sentence.
Wow.
It's okay to say no.
Yeah.
And you don't have to explain yourself.
That's the key.
That was my thing. I always felt like I had to explain myself. And she was like, she said, not even with me.
Yeah.
If it's no, it's just no.
Right.
But that was hard for me because that's how I grew up. So it's like, even now, I'm still getting, people calling and asking me to do this and do that. And it's still a struggle. That no is still a struggle for me. And I just simply let them know, listen, I won't be able to be there this time, but just keep me in the loop, future reference, maybe I can, with my work schedule. And then that one takes people for a loop too. Like, you're working. Well, I've actually been working over 20 years with 4 kids, but it's okay. That's not work.
People see the one side of you. They don't see the other side.
Right. So it's like now, and then when I see them coming in, when I'm at work, and they're like, you're working?
Yes.
Like, yes, I know I have a husband who's the breadwinner, but I can work too. It's okay.
Yes.
So that side. Now that was a big one too, because we agreed early on that I would stay home with the kids.
Right.
Because again, that's what I saw my mom do. My mom stayed home with us while my dad was chief in the Navy.
Okay.
So he was always gone. So she stayed home with us, not knowing until years later when I got older to where I could understand. She broke a lot of stuff down for me. It was like she struggled.
Right.
Being a stay-at-home mom was not easy. There's a lot of women that I work with now that they say they just can't do it. That's why they work.
Yeah.
They don't want to be home with their kids.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of time. And I miss it now because more so ministry, because I work on Sundays.
Oh.
So
that's why I don't be seeing you sometimes when I watch the
I work on Friday, and most of the time they have me in there like 9 or 11 in the morning. So I miss services. So actually this Sunday is going to be great because I actually get to go. Yeah. But it's like even our church, like, the different ones have been reaching out. We haven't seen you, and I'm like, I know, I'm so sorry, but for me, I realized that a lot of things, being with someone for so long, you don't realize that you're taking so much for granted.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fall into a routine.
You really don't. Yeah. And a lot of times when he would talk to me, I would just say, okay, brush it off, whatever. But I don't know, this last time when we talked, it was like a lot of this stuff was really weighing heavy on him. And I need to do something.
Right. You recognize that.
Right. Yeah. Whereas before I would be like, yeah, whatever, he can handle it. Like, that really was my answer. Like, he got it. He's been carrying it all these years, But it was just like, I need to do something. And that's one of the main reasons why I started going back to work. Because I noticed a difference in him. He wasn't the happy-go-lucky person that he was.
Right.
He was disgruntled a lot more. He was angry a lot more. And certain things would tick him off. And I was just like, okay, we gotta We got to figure this out. So ministry wise, it has slowed down a lot for me because now that I'm working. Do I miss it? Absolutely. But I know God has allowed me to be on the job, because even it's crazy, even being on the job, you'd be, I don't know, well, I don't think you will, but most people would be surprised. I minister all day, every day.
Yep.
I really do.
And I think sometimes God does that. He takes us, like you said, break tradition. He takes us out of the four walls so that ministry can get to those people that it needs to get to.
Right.
Man, I like how y'all describe it. So another block as it relates to making sure that you hit the essential parts of making the relationship healthy is the I word, intimacy. And we're not talking, sometimes people might go straight to physical.
Right.
So we're coming up on Valentine's Day, and how do you guys make sure that that the intimacy continues? How would you describe that part?
For me, every day is Valentine's Day. It doesn't take
What you say?
It doesn't take a special day to show my love and affection to my wife, to my kids, whatever. And so I really, and again, that's my upbringing. I don't really focus on holidays because we're constantly doing stuff for each other all year long. So I'm not going broke on Christmas.
Or Mother's Day.
Very true.
You know, I will do something. But no, I'm not going broke on, because things are different now. We have a daughter in college. Kids are getting up. Things are more expensive than back in the day. Inflation is at an all-time high, and so things are constantly changing, and so you have to change with it. So we had to cut back a lot. We have to do some things, whatever. So no, and I made that very clear. I am not going broke just to say, I spent X amount of dollars for you on this one day when we still have tomorrow. Or, because the first of the month bills are due, mortgage, rent, gas, going back and forth. There's always going to be a field trip coming up with the kids, something. New boots for work, so there's always something. So that's why communication is important to me. And to me, that's better than a box of chocolates any day.
Candice, what when we talk about intimacy, do you prefer him to be romantic, got the rose petals leading from the sidewalk all the way to the house, or if he just say, "Hey, babe, I stopped my Burger King and I got you a burger"? How do you feel about that? Because some people have expectations. They're like, "Oh, I need them candles, I need them rose petals," and I'm not saying we shouldn't do it, but when it comes to that intimacy piece, what do you need from him?
Honestly, when we sit and watch movies, that's intimacy. I'm so simplistic. I really am. I mean, of course, every now and again, I want the extra. And he knows that. Like, he knows when to bring the extra. And then when it's time to just chill, we just chill. Because a lot of people, this irks him. But growing up in my house, because we were a military family, we always had people over. There was hardly ever a time that we did not have people over. Because my dad was an elder. Not only was he in the Navy, but he was also an elder. So he was always ministering to people and having them come to the house. Invited them to church, come to the house. I mean, this man on the ship formed choirs. I mean, you name it, he did it. So we always had people at the house. There was hardly ever a time that it was just our family. So it's like that with us now, and he can't stand it because it was just him, his brother, and his mom. Versus me, I always have people at my house. That's what I'm used to. So it's like, for me, I can have people at the house all day and I'll be just fine. I'll watch him and he'll be off in a corner somewhere because it's
back
not
to
his
that
thing.
corner almost.
It's not his thing. So it's like okay, let's say right now he's not going to be here for Valentine's Day. He's going to take care of his mom. Okay, so I said to myself, okay, Candice, Super Bowl is coming up. Do I want to have people over? Absolutely. But he's getting ready to leave. What would be good for him? It would send him off right. Right? He just wants a quiet evening. Just chill with his family. Nothing big.
Simplistic.
So I said, okay. So I had to let everybody know we're not doing nothing. Of course, they were upset. We're not doing nothing for Super Bowl. We just going, and I didn't tell them why. We just gonna chill. And then too, our son is turning 8. His birthday is on Sunday. So I said, we'll just chill. We'll just kick back. And that's what it's been the last couple days. And he told me today, he was like, I just really enjoyed just a quiet house and just chilling.
Wow.
I'm not used to that.
Yeah.
It drives me crazy.
Right.
But I have to compromise. So it's
Yes.
like the intimate part is just chilling. Me cooking a good meal. Like last night, I made fried chicken, rice, and some green beans. He enjoyed it. Simple. And then we watched Aquaman. You know, like we just, that's his thing. He just wants, he gets off work, he just wants to chill, not be loud, crazy. That's what I'm used to. He's not used to that. I dwell in that. Right? He
The
does
two
not.
worlds, right?
Right. So you have these two worlds trying to come together, and it's bananas sometimes. But I mean, every now and again, like I'll give you an example. Last year, because his birthday comes first, and then the day after is our anniversary, right? So I know it's not his thing, but I said I'm gonna do something different this year. Because normally we'll just go to Olive Garden or something. So I booked a room. I got an Airbnb on his birthday. We stayed overnight, and then the next day, Moses loves junk. Like he loves digging in dumpsters, dumpster antiques. That's his thing.
We could hang.
All right.
That is his thing. So they had this thing in Puyallup where he could do that. Like the Puyallup Fairgrounds, the entire venue was full of antiques. So I said, okay, I'm gonna book this room, and everything was on me. He didn't have to pay for nothing. I took it, and he was in the whole time, drove me crazy. But he was like, "How you paying for this?" I was like, "Just chill. I got it."
Hey, you see this bag? I got you.
It was like, I got it, I promise you. And he enjoyed it. Was out of his element, because that's my thing. Like sometimes I love surprises. He does not. Still to this day, he can't stand surprises.
I don't like them either.
He can't, and I'm still working with him on that, because sometimes I want to surprise him. Surprise me, please surprise me. I love that, but that's not his thing. So it's like, and every now and again, what I do love, and another level of intimacy between us, is when I think I have him figured out, he'll do something. I'll be like,
keep on your toes.
After 16 years, you cool, you all right. You know, so it's like that every now and again. Just like today, when I was taking my other shoes, putting my shoes on, the way he was just looking at me. You know what I'm saying? Like that, those moments for me are everything. No words. And so it made me smile, and I just said, what?
Check this out. No word, but she's like, I still got it. I like how you
But I mean,
that's awesome.
It's simple, honestly. It really is. I've never been that kind of girl. I really am not. Give me some good food. I'm so serious. Fill my belly and a good movie. I'm good.
So I want to ask one last question as we close out. Do you guys have boundaries, and what are those boundaries? Because sometimes it's good to have boundaries, even if you're married. Like you just said, hey, give me a minute.
Right.
Don't come here right now. How important are those boundaries in this relationship?
For me, boundaries are greatly important. Because my motto is, it's me and you, not me, you, and the crew. Keep family out of your business. Keep people out of your business. You guys have problems, you deal with it as a couple. If you need help, seek guidance from a trusted source, somebody you look up to, because everybody is not for you. And that's one thing I had to learn over the years. Be choicy. Make choices together. Move strategically, and you will grow together as a couple.
For me, I have to say that boundaries are very important, even in a marriage, because sometimes I want to hang with my girls. You know, I love them, but I don't want to be around them all the time. I don't. I really don't. I don't want to be around them all the time. Sometimes I want to be with my girls, like I did for my birthday weekend. I got an Airbnb. Me and my girls just hung for the weekend. Wow. That was a lot for him. Because we're used to being around each other all the time. But for me, it's like, but for me, that's where I'm different. I need that space. My thing is, I want to miss you. If you don't give me the opportunity to miss you, then now you're working on my nerves. And now I'm getting irritated, and I'm like, bruh, I need to miss you. Like, I really do. That is a thing.
That's an important feature.
I need to miss you. Because if I don't miss you, I'm looking at you like, why are you here? You come here every day. I see you every day. Can I? You know, but that's my thing.
Yeah.
And so, like, even though I know he's getting ready to leave, it's, you know, the circumstances I get, but at the same time, I know this is going to give us an opportunity to really miss each other.
Yeah.
And that to me is important, because that for me, I feel it grows us closer. It brings us closer.
Wow.
And it just reminds me of when we like really first started courting. He was in Virginia, so we would talk for hours on the phone because I missed him.
Yes.
I didn't get to see him all the time. And so I told him, I said, that for me is still important. I need to be able to miss you. So when he's at work and he doesn't call me, but he does like 5, 6, 7 times a day. It's like, and I have to tell him, honey, I need to miss you. So sometimes I'm not gonna call you on your lunch break, and it's okay. And he'll be like, oh, you don't want me to call you?
It's like, you know, this is part of the brand.
Right. Like, and because I want to be able to greet him at the door and say, I missed you.
Wow. That is awesome.
You know what I mean?
She's teaching me every day. She's teaching me every day how to love her.
Oh, wow. That is
And
awesome.
so it's, you know, we're a work in progress. A lot of people see, hey, I want what you guys have, but we put in work every day.
Listen.
Yeah. Do you want the work behind the scenes?
No, and that's the part that people
That's
don't
what
want.
you know.
They say that we're goals, and I'm like, no, we're not.
You don't know.
No, we are not. We are not.
I want to
goals.
thank you all for tuning in, and I'm not going to close out the way I normally do. I want Candice and Moses to look in that camera, and they've been together 16 years, and you've heard a little bit of their story. And I want them to give their advice to some couples. Maybe you just got married, you've been married 16 years, 36 years, 50 years. I want Candice and Moses to just give a little bit of advice as we close out this section of relationship conversation, the essentials for healthy relationships.
All right. I would say continue to date. Continue to have fun. Continue to love on each other. You've been with that person for a long time. You know what makes them tick. You know what their triggers, their do's and don'ts are. So make time for each other. Don't lose you. That's my advice.
That's a big one. I have to agree. Don't lose yourself in the beginning of a relationship, marriage. It's very easy. I did it for years, and I'm just now really beginning to learn me again. Ladies, please work on being there for yourself, loving on yourself, doing stuff for yourself. Yes, you're a mother. Yes, you're a wife, a fiance, girlfriend, whatever it may be. But don't forget about yourself. You matter. This is what I tell myself every day. You matter. You got it going on, girl. And again, continue to love on each other. And if there's something, I don't care how small or minute you may think it is, please communicate that. I don't care if it's, I don't like the way you chew that gum. It doesn't matter what it is.
Right.
Please communicate that. I'm learning now more so than ever that communication really is key, because what happens is we talk more with our girlfriends than we do our spouse. And then they don't know us like they should, because we've given all the information and then we have nothing left for them. So make that a priority to make sure you speak to your spouse. I'm not saying you have to tell them everything. Some things do stay between you and your girls. You understand? Just saying some things do. Absolutely. But the important, essential things, speak with your spouse about it. Talk to them. Before you even get married.
You better speak that one.
Before you get married, make that a priority. So that way you don't go in with all of this extra baggage. Because honestly, truthfully, we went into our marriage with a lot of baggage and a lot of things that we're still dealing with today. So I would honestly say, please make sure that you speak to them before you get married. That's not fair to you or your spouse. Don't bring all of that stuff in there. It's really not. And I know you hear people say this all the time, but I promise you, if you keep God first and you two are working together and you pray together and you keep that line of communication open, you can't go wrong. You cannot. You can't go wrong, but you have to make sure. And listen.
You hear that from us.
Please.
Yes.
It's important to have a relationship individually, because your walk is separate with God, and then together. You got to make sure you keep, because your kids, your children, your community, you think they're not, but they are watching you. You'd be surprised. I've had so many people come up to me and say, oh my gosh, and I'm looking like, what? But please, please, please talk, communicate, talk, please. That is, I can't stress that enough. Please do that.